You are not even the person. You are that within which is aware of the person. The very term Sakshi is very powerful. It shows you what liberation is, what enlightenment is, what freedom is. The person never gets freedom. That might sound shocking. The person never gets moksha or nirvana. You get freedom from the person. You, the witness consciousness, you realize you are free of the person. The person will continue. Who is the person? It's that ever-changing, that continuously transforming set of ideas, likes and dislikes, memories, tendencies. Right now, the person, imagine, the person has changed so much from babyhood to childhood to teenage to youth to middle age to senior. So it changes so much. And yet there is a light within which lights up this person. That light within is the Sakshi. Very precise way of isolating the Sakshi, of seeing yourself for what you are. Use the same technique. That which I am not, which I am aware of, is not me. Aware of the body, then the body is not me. Aware of the mind, then the mind, which I think to be myself, that's also not me. In fact, in Vedanta, the mind is called a subtle body. The mind is also a body. Just like we have the feeling of being embodied, that I am in this body, embodied. Vedanta would say you are also in the mind. I don't know, you cannot concoct a new term, en-minded or something. But basically, Vedanta would say you are embodied in a physical body, a gross body. By gross, I don't mean the body is gross. It may be very fit and very nice. But physically, it's a physical body. And I'm also embodied in a subtle body. Mind, intellect, memory, ego. Very interesting. Ego. What is the ego? The one which says I. You say, I am sitting on the chair. Right now, if you say that, I am sitting on a chair, it seems to be a fact. But apply the same technique. Are you aware of this feeling of I am sitting on the chair? Which means that I, which you are aware of, that's also an object. That I, which you are, we are all aware of the I inside. I am speaking. Okay, this I am aware of it. In that case, that I is also an object. Are you with me? No? Just feel it. I, sitting on the chair. I. It's an object. A very subtle object, but still an object. That which is aware, which shines on the I, on the very subtle object called the I, that one is the Sakshi, the witness. So the witness is something beyond the ego also. Not the body, not the mind. The illuminer of the body-mind, and through the body-mind of the universe. That unchanging consciousness is called the Sakshi. Swami, why did you say unchanging? I said unchanging because every change is illumined by that consciousness. If that consciousness were to change, if you are aware of that change, then the change becomes an object to that consciousness. It's not, the consciousness is not changing. It illumines a change. The change is an object different from that consciousness. By logic, by simple logic, you can see that that consciousness is unchanging. But remember, it's not an object. It's not a thing. If it were a thing, it would be separate from you. Sakshi. In fact, if you use this technique, whatever I am aware of, that I am not. That much. Then you see that you are not the body, you are not the senses, you are not the vital force, the breath, prana, you are not the mind, you are not the intellect. You can see, because they are all aware of all of them. You are aware of all of these. You are not. If you stop there, if you stop right there, you've got Buddhism. When Buddhism says there is no permanent self, anatma. Often people say there's a great conflict between Hinduism and Buddhism, and they've debated this for more than 1,000 years. There's rich flowering of Indian philosophy for more than 1,000 years of debate between the Hindu dualist schools and the various Buddhist schools. Hindus speak about an Atma. Look at this, what we just read, Atma. And the Buddhists say Anatma, no self. But when you look at it from a non-dualist perspective, you're saying virtually the same thing. One, they're coming at it from a negative side, one from a positive side. And there is merit on both sides. It's a digression, I know, but let me make this point. The advantage of the Buddhist point is that I just said that the real self, the Sakshi, is not a thing, not an object. If you listen to it the way we speak about it in Vedanta, the way the Hindus speak about it, you get the feeling it's something. It's a thing. Something rarefied, something very subtle, but still a thing. If you take it from the Buddhist perspective, you see it's not a thing, not an object. That correction happens if you take the Buddhist approach. It's not a thing. They are right. It's not a thing. Absolutely, they are right. It's not a thing. It's not an object. But on the other hand, if you stick closely to the Buddhist approach, you get the feeling it's nothing. But it's not nothing either. The Buddhists themselves say that. Nagarjuna says, what's the high? He says the ultimate truth, tattvam. The ultimate truth is shunyam, the void. What is the void? Is it something that exists? He says no. So it does not exist? No. It both exists and does not exist? No. It neither exists nor does not exist? No. Chatushkoti vinirmukta tattvam. The shunyam, the void, is something beyond the four alternatives. If you take the Buddhist approach, you realize it's not an object. But you run the danger of thinking it's nothing. But the Buddhists themselves say that shunyam, the void, is not nothing. Then the Hindu approach is useful. You say that it's not nothing, it's the witness of that so-called nothing. Often in spiritual life, you can end up with a vacuum, a void, a shunyam. And at that point, if you take this Vedantic approach, what is aware of this void? It's not another thing. It's something beyond all things, beyond all objects. So, Sakshi, the witness consciousness. Atma Sakshi Vibhu Purnaha. Vibhu, and very interesting word in Sanskrit. Vibhu generally means which pervades all things. In all variety, that one reality in all variety. This pure consciousness, if you read about it this way, the way we have talked about it, the sense you get is it's something very subtle beyond the body. It's not the body, it's not the mind, it's not the intellect. It's some kind of a very rarefied light which shines upon the mind and body, different from everything in the universe. And now Ashtavakra says, he reverses it. This whole universe is not different from you, the Sakshi. You see, the moment you say witness, usually what is a witness? A witness is the one who steps back from everything and sees things at a distance, right? A witness to a crime, a witness to the event, somebody not involved, separate, something different. The word vibhu means that which has become everything. So it's not only the light, the consciousness which illumines all experiences, but everything that is experienced, that is also a projection of the same Atman. It is the same Sakshi, the same witness with variety of names and forms. That's difficult to understand. But without this, there would be no non-duality. Vibhu, the different ways of understanding this term. Vividham bhavati vibhu. The one which has become variety. Not become, but seems to be this variety. You are the witness consciousness. And what you experience, that also you are. This is the meaning of the next term. Shocking. It means I am not a consciousness apart from the universe, shining upon the universe in my isolated majesty, separated from everything in the universe. The great German philosopher who talked about monads, Leibniz, like stars in the night sky, apart from the rest of the universe, shining upon everything, not affected by everything else. But not just that. The whole universe is an appearance in your light. It's not apart from you. What you see around this is you yourself. It is by your own Maya that you project this entire universe in your awareness, and you are the witness of this game. So vibhu, vividham bhavati, that which appears as manifold. Viruddham bhavati, viparitam bhavati, contradictory, just the opposite. That pure consciousness appears as this insentient thing of wood, of metal, of earth and sky and fire and water. Just the opposite of consciousness, a material existence. Viparitam bhavati, opposite. It appears as an opposite reality. Vivartam bhavati. In Sanskrit, vivartam means without changing appears as something else. The rope, the classic example in Vedanta, the rope without changing appears as a snake, right? In Vedanta, old example. And they say that a boy ran away from a village in India to become a monk. And his relatives, they went out to search for him. One man came back to the village having found that boy. He said, yes, he's in an ashram. He is studying Vedanta. He's become a monk. Oh, the villagers were very curious. What do they do in that ashram? What do they do? Well, they have a problem with snakes. Every day in the morning, there's this rope which is covered by a snake, and the monks spend a lot of time driving the snake away, but next morning it's back again. It's the rope which is mistaken for the snake. Rope alone appears as the snake. This is called vivarta, the rope without having changed. The rope doesn't change. The rope is what it is, always. It looks like the snake by mistake. Similarly, you, the consciousness, the sakshi, the witness consciousness, you appear as what is witnessed. Mind, body, universe. That witness consciousness appears as this universe. It might seem difficult to swallow, but think about it. It's not very alien to our experience. Every day when we dream about it, when we dream, we do something like that. Isn't it? When you dream, you see buildings and streets and trees and sky and birds and people and good and bad, and you are also there in your own dream. You have a body, right? A dream body in your own dream. Isn't it true that everything that we see in our dreams is our own mind? The mind which is seeing the dream and that which is the dream is composed of, it's the same mind. The mind itself projects its own movie and watches it. You are like that audience which watches its own movie. You create your own movie and you watch it. So, Sakshi Vibhuhu, the entire universe appears to you in your consciousness. Vividam bhavati, vivattam bhavati, viparitam bhavati. The different ways of understanding Vibhu. And what else? Atma Sakshi Vibhu Purnaha. Complete. Purna means full or infinite. There is this peace chant, Shanti Mantra, which is my favorite really. You might have heard it. Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. From the whole or the infinite. From that infinite, this infinite has emerged. That is infinite, this is also infinite. And having taken the infinite from the infinite alone remains. What does that mean? You, the witness consciousness, and this universe, that which is witnessed. This universe which is witnessed is an emanation, is a projection from you, the witness consciousness.